Welcome everyone to this video where I'm really excited to share with you today 3 practical tips to help you show up with more confidence in English as a legal professional. These tips are taken from neuroscience and psychology, including some of the material I've been reading recently. This book, it's a real oldie but goldie, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, if anyone has read that before, and some podcasts that I've seen recently from leading psychiatrists. And I was inspired to make this video not just from doing my own research and reading on these topics, but also from talking to a client who is going through my program at the moment. She is an excellent communicator. Her writing was immaculate when I was correcting her writing in terms of the grammar and tone and all of that. She summarized things very well, very quickly when she listened to different material related to her legal area. And I helped her to handle meetings, presentations, all of that in English for her role as a lawyer. But I asked her recently, how does she feel right now after working on her English for a number of weeks, a number of months actually. And she said that she still lacked confidence showing up to meetings, being able to speak up in meetings. And I said, what was stopping her now? What was causing that lack of confidence? Was there a gap in her knowledge? And she said no. She just had this feeling she was nervous to speak up, to interrupt people. And so it got me thinking that, and it's something that I think definitely all the time, that it's not just what you know in terms of English, but also your mindset, how you show up to these meetings, how you're thinking, your beliefs about yourself, your beliefs about your English. So in this video, that is what we're going to be covering. Really, really interesting insights, and this is all evidence-based. So without further ado, let me get into it. I'm going to present my screen now, and actually I need to just give me one moment. I need to make sure that I'm presenting that, but it's going to be very interesting. Let me just presenter view, present. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you've read that book, if psychology is something that interests you, if you've watched any podcasts recently, that maybe have helped you think differently about your English, about how you show up. Okay, so yeah, perfect. Okay. So I have come up with this framework, the ISP framework, to help you to remember. And so 3 letters, and they mean imagine, start, and program. Okay, so I'm going to go into each one in details, but this is how you need to, this is what you need to follow really to help you to show up in any professional situation, whether it is meetings, interviews, presentations, networking as well. Um, Starting with this, it's going to help you a lot with that feeling of lack of confidence, nervousness, anxiety, all of these things. So think about, a sports person, or think about yourself actually, first of all, in these professional situations. Are you using your imagination constructively or destructively? Like, really think about it. Like, when you are showing up to these meetings in English, perhaps there is a feeling that you have that, English is not your first language, so you're at a disadvantage when you turn up to these meetings. So, are you thinking in a destructive way about this meeting, about this opportunity you have to speak English? And is that affecting your performance? The answer is yes, it is definitely going to affect your performance if you are imagining something, um, you have a destructive view of this meeting situation. And really, it's a trap that I fell into for years and years and years. And I think it's related to, things like imposter syndrome, where you feel like an imposter in a situation where you feel like you don't deserve to be there. I can't believe when I first learned this term, it was like a light bulb moment for me. The idea of feeling like an imposter and that other people suffered from it, that they felt that they didn't deserve to be in this place and that everything was going to go wrong for them because they weren't good enough, basically. So really think about that. You know, you are a lawyer, you are very skilled and experienced in what you do and probably really confident in the law you practice and in showing up in your first language. But are you bringing that same level of confidence, that same level of self-belief to those opportunities where you need to speak English? So that is the first thing. And, you know, think about it this way. Our nervous system, it can't distinguish between an imagined experience and a real experience. So if you imagine yourself in various situations, it's going to program your mind for success. So let me just share with you a quote, and maybe you recognize this quote. I haven't given the person who said it, so I'll tell you in a moment who said this. They said, and this is it's quite surprising as well because this person is very well known in the science world, someone very well respected. This is not a woo-woo thing about, you know, think positive and everything is great. No, this is very well recognized. So this quote is, imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited, and imagination encircles the world. Beautiful. Now, Albert Einstein said this. So, you know, famous physicist, made a lot of concrete discoveries for the world in terms of physics and science. So this is not something that is just in the clouds, you know, thinking. He really said this. And when you think about it, all the great thinkers of the world, they all had their product, their idea. It first began in their imagination. So everything starts with something in the mind, and whether that is you showing up for that meeting with full confidence in what you're going to say. It starts in imagination. So, you know, you can have all the knowledge, you can have all the English lessons, you know grammar, English grammar to an advanced level, but without imagination, without imagining yourself in those situations that you could only dream about, you're not going to get very far. So, the last thing I want to say on this point, imagination, and I was saying that, you know, our nervous system can't distinguish between a real or an imagined situation. So it's about, you know, reminding yourself of an experience where you were confident. Maybe that was in your first language. Maybe it was in English before. If it was a time when you felt confident in English, that would be great. But imagining that, holding on to that. And if it's difficult for you to imagine a situation, an experience where you were fully confident, try to channel a confident person's behavior. So we have here the example picture here of Michelle Obama and another speaker, an unknown speaker to me anyway, standing on a stage, and look at their body language. Look how confident they appear. You know, think about it in a visual way. What are they doing? Their body language, their rate of speech, how fast they are speaking, and their choice of words. These are all things that you should think about and imagine to really prime yourself for success in that situation in English. And lastly, and I did start with this, but I didn't finish my thought. You know, sports people are trained to do this. They make clear mental pictures in their head before they go into a game. It's not just the technical skill, the physical thing of them doing the sport. It's them visualizing very, very clearly that for winning, basically. This is something that is covered in this book, which I find highly interesting. So think about the high performers, sports people, or just well-known people, whether that's actors or whatever. They have a very strong mindset, and they work very hard on their mindset and on imagining and visualizing their success. Okay, so that is it for imagine. So let's go to the S of the ISP framework. So the S stands for start. So start whatever you want in that meeting, in that presentation. So this is an interesting quote. It's from the speaker Mel Robbins. She was a former lawyer and now is a big personal development coach, a coach to help you make change in your life. So you can't control how you feel, but you can always choose how you act. So this to me is about, and you can think of it about motivation. So you can control like how, if you're going to feel motivated, if you're going to feel confident on that day, but you can always choose the action you take. And by taking that action, it's going to bring you into it's going to be like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So as you start to take action, your confidence will build in your abilities by just starting. So, we can't really rely on motivation. Motivation, the psychiatrist that spoke on this podcast I listened to recently, um, is really a feeling. So we need to really rely on discipline and showing up. So whether that's showing up in a meeting, speaking up, what even if we don't feel like it, even if we think, oh, we can stay in our comfort zone, we don't really need to say anything. It's important to show up, even if it's just the point of saying something small in a meeting. It's going to make you feel much better about yourself, and just starting and taking action, even if you don't feel like it. Um, so this is another idea, and this is something I have shared with my clients. Some of them were a bit skeptical, but it is really, if you can implement this, it sounds incredibly simple and common sense, but it works amazingly. So the moment you have an instinct to act on a goal, you must physically move within 5 seconds or your brain will stop you. Five, four, three, two, one, go. And this is again from Mel Robbins. She has a book called The 5 Second Rule, and her whole book, her whole premise is about taking action and just counting to five and taking action. It's really about getting out of your own way, and just not relying on the motivation, but really taking the action. And I'm just consulting my notes if there's anything I haven't said. Yeah, so, showing up consistently, it can be really difficult at the beginning, but it's going to become habitual. And then, if something becomes a habit that you always speak up at a meeting, that you always make the first move in a networking event, that you always ask that first question, it's going to become something that's habit, something that's natural to you that you don't need to think about. And it's going to be part of your identity, and you're going to feel much better about yourself. You're going to actually feel a confident person in English. Imagine that. So yeah, think about that. So start. Now, the final part in the ISP framework is program, like a computer program. So, in order to show up confidently in English, we need to change our beliefs about our English. So, if any of you have done the CBT therapy, you've gone to psychologist, a counselor, and it's all about, your thoughts influence your beliefs and these influence your actions. I hope I'm saying that right. I think that's pretty much the premise. But we're looking here about our beliefs, and that's going to help us to change. That's going to help us to change our approach, to change the action we take or how we show up. So that's really, really important. Most of the time we are on autopilot and we have automatic reactions to different situations. So it's about, if we, for example, always think that networking events are really, really difficult, and we show up with this nervousness where we say hello and then we pause and we don't have anything to say. We're thinking in our heads, oh, what am I going to say to this person in English as I, network with them and I'm trying to introduce myself and make conversation. If you have an automatic phrase that you say, like, where are you from? Or how has your day been? This is going to really help you to reprogram how you approach situations and change everything. So Let me go to the second, to one of the final slides. So you might have a current belief that you are not as good in English as your other colleagues. I'm not as good in English as my other colleagues. I hear this a lot from clients. Fair enough. It's not a great belief, so we want to change this belief. Another one is always searching for my words in English, always searching for them in meetings, and this, limits my communication skills, and I don't feel confident as a result. So we need to change our beliefs about this. Obviously, we can do something about it. We can work on our weaknesses, but not just working on our weaknesses, working on our English, that's only going to get us so far. We also need to change really fundamentally how we believe about this situation, which is going to reprogram ourselves and for success and to feel more confident. So let me show you some alternatives. So in terms of, feeling not as good in English as my other colleagues, you can say my English is good enough for this meeting, or my English is continuing to improve. So believing these things about your English as opposed to, it not being as good you not being as good in English as your other colleagues, believing this is going to help you change your actions and change how you approach things and how you approach different professional situations in English. The other one, I'm always searching for my words in English. You can say I have all the words I need, and if not, I can plan ahead. I can plan ahead for these situations in English. So, that is the framework, the imagine, start, and program. And of course, if you change nothing, nothing will change. That's another quote I've heard. But really, if you change nothing about this situation, nothing is going to change. So you need to take action. You need to imagine a different way, a more positive, constructive way and approach to how you show up in meetings and different professional situations in English. You need to start, you need to take action, even if you don't feel comfortable, even if you don't feel motivated, because by taking the action, you're going to feel more confident and you're going to make progress. And you need to reprogram your mind to think differently, because if your beliefs change, your behavior is going to change as well. Your actions are going to change, and you're going to feel overall more confident. So I was trying to keep this video under 10 minutes. It's gone to 17 minutes. I think I could talk a lot about this topic, but I hope that has helped you in how you could approach your next opportunity to speak in English. And don't forget as well that I have, and I don't have it here, I have my newsletter if you want to sign up. I'm going to leave the link to my newsletter, Confident English for Legal Professionals, where I share tips, stories, strategies on how you can show up confidently in English to unlock international opportunities in your career. So do sign up for that. For the newsletter, you get the first word on all my events and all my special offers and things.